Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's live stream, we're gonna have some interesting discussions. I hope audio and video is working. So I'm waiting to hear basically feedback from uh, incognito window. Let's just see. Okay. Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel. Okay, so as of now, my understanding is that audio and video is working. If any of you have any issues, you can type it in the comment. So I will be reading that. Sakir, hello everyone. Hello, you are the first viewer here. So today we're gonna have some interesting talks about just first an update what happened the last time, because if you have watched my just last week's live stream, I was talking about some court stuff that happened this time. The court actually was like ironically wasteful, I would say, and now I have to do the mediation stage again. This has been going on for 3 years. I had more than three mediations. I have to do it again. But again, it is what it is. But I'm hoping, knocking on wood, that on 13th August I have to go again. By that time, at least I should be able to start the case. But this is beyond frustrating. So next week videos would be a bit light, simply because I could not focus and make anything. And again, there are some steps that I have to take, which is frustrating to say the least. That being said, next week there is a video that is I got carried away when I was making it. So it's one of the longest video I have made so far. So I do not think many people would watch it, but I just got carried away. I had to basically swap out batteries multiple times in recording it, because again, I just let it rip, as they say. I was not holding back. I was like, damn the algorithm and all that. It's just like, it's something that I wanted to say, it's something that I wanted to put some contextual awareness around it. So I was just like, let's go. And like the Hindi variant of that video is extremely long, almost touching 48 minutes. So English one is also quite long. So that's gonna be very interesting to see. People do say that sometimes, oh, we want more details and all that. Okay, you got everything. And Future Friday videos are getting quite a lot of interesting, interaction with the audience. So I think Future Friday is gonna going places. Mm. Okay, so yeah, I think all everything is working fine. Everything should be. Although there was an issue when I basically launched this stream. The stream I launched it last night, but it was set to private. So a lot. No, I don't think a lot of people got the notification and all that. So that was an issue. We are ready for watching video. I hope so. I hope so. I did took some effort. Now, let's talk about some interesting development. I think next week I'll try to do solar videos and all that. So I was basically I do electrical work in my own home, and nothing fancy. Like, although I am so frustrated, I might actually try to tear down all the wirings and redo it, simply because the house was built in 1992. So there has been a lot of electrical change from that time. Meaning, when the electrical wiring of this house was done, it was like all in one color. Only earthing has a different color. So it's not like, okay, very clean, like black is neutral, red is live, and green is neutral, and then you have multiple phase. No, it's like very sloppily built, and then we had to upgrade to three phase. So everything about this house is like barely kludged together. So it's just like, it's there but it's not efficient. So I've been slowly trying to improve as many things I can. So one of the biggest tool for it is this puppy. So basically getting ferals. So I started with this puppy. So this is a feral system. Now, if any of you have worked in industrial environment or any professional electrical system, you know this is the only way where you can have a stranded wire going into a termination system. For example, if you have a, where did I put it? Oh yeah, right here. So for example, if you have an electrical box, something like this, you will always use ferrules whenever you are dealing with stranded wire. Meaning, if you have fine stranded wire, you have to utilize this. Otherwise, whenever you are locking it down, you are risking it. You have to either basically strip a very long amount of wire, twist them, fold them back, and then crank it down. And be mindful, cranking it down, if the metal is not perfect, even if there is a little bit of edge, it can just cut through it, because again, thick copper, solid cable wire that is coming in copper format, that is almost uncuttable. You have to put some effort to cut it. You can't just like oops. But when you're talking about fine stranded wire, you can oops it. So that is why you have to utilize ferrules. Now this is a mandatory system for many applications where you have to do this. So Are you installing 2 kilowatt solar system? Yeah, I've already installed it. Done. Like, I have not made videos about it because I was waiting for my solar inverter to get the data dongle. Basically the inverter is here, it's working, all the things is fine, but this is a luminous inverter system, and you're supposed to buy a IoT dongle for it, data logger, so to say. And I did bought it. I did connect it. It did not work. Now I called the technician, and technician said that it's not working because it's an older model, and they have to replace it with a newer model. So because I bought it separately, because again it did not came with a box in the with the inverter, I had to buy it from a separate source. After buying it, they were like, okay, we'll try to get it replaced if the seller that I bought it from, the third party seller, if they are what you call authorized seller, then you should be able to get it. Now I'm still waiting it. I think it's 3 week or 4 week now at this point in time. So it did not work as expected. So that's the reason why I'm not making a video, because unless I can share all that mathematical data, is like how much kilowatt is being made, how much is being consumed and all that, I can read it out, but unless I can show you the graph day to night and how things go, it's not very useful, so to say. So that part is stuck, unnecessarily stuck. Although I might, if it's not raining extremely, I might walk today only, and I'll have a talk with them, see what's what. So in terms of this assortment, you can buy almost 3 sizes of crimper, so to say. So basically this is a normal crimp. Now if you do not pay attention, you may end up buying a cheaper crimper, which generally will have from 0 to 6 square mm. Now this generally a better one is 0 to 10 square mm. So this puppy can handle 10 square mm. And whenever you are buying a kit comes with basically ferrule for 10 square mm cables. However, during the solar installation, solar also utilize these cables. These cables are 16 square mm. They are used for earthing, grounding the panels, lightning arrestor, and surge protector. So there is 3 of these puppies. So I do need a way to crimp this puppy. Now, unfortunately, 16 square mm cable crimps are not easily available. There was one kit that was available where you can buy a version of this which had that, but it was very expensive. And I did want to make a dedicated video where I'm talking about like how you can use double bootlaced. Basically these are single ferrules, these are bootlaced ferrule. So in this bootlaced ferrule system, you can utilize basically you can make a daisy chain quite efficiently, like it's super easy to make things like this, daisy chain. And you can make a switchboard very reliable, very robust, that you can service very easily, and they can last a very long time. So that's why I want to make a video about it, show it. And since I've already figured out how to do the Amazon affiliate program, now be mindful, I did do Amazon affiliate, I think 2 years ago or 3 years ago, but Amazon kicked me out and they did not give a reason. And a lot of people said, well, like if they ever, they never share like, okay, you messed up, this video is messed up. So there is no recourse. It's not like YouTube. I can knock on wood. I hope I do not have to figure out the YouTube part, but that's why I was very traumatized with it. So I did not invest too much into it. But as like recently finance has been tight, so I was like, okay, let's try it again. So I did that. So I'll share how you can buy. Now 0 to 6, useless, don't buy it. 0 to 10, almost 99% of work that you can do, you will be able to do with this puppy. More than good enough. Generally it's quite cost effective to buy this with a kit like this. I can provide Amazon link if any of you are interested. Then comes the another problem, is like if you have to deal with cables that are this thick, 16 square mm, or like car audios and all that, so then you have to buy something like this. So this goes from 0 to 16 square mm. Now this is the maximum that I have seen. And what about higher than 16 mm? Be mindful, crunching 16 mm like this, it takes a lot of effort. That's why it's physically larger. You can pay attention to that. You can pay attention like how larger it is. Like it has to be, only then I was able to crank this down. And when I did this, like it takes a lot of effort. So in the moment you start to cross 16 square mm, you have to go into what we call hydraulic crimpers. It's not that easy to do with all that. Can you discuss about the pre-revolution Iran, post-revolution Iran, its regions and details? Yeah, that would be a very interesting thing, but I think I'm not the right channel for it. I could try, but I'm not the right channel for it. There are people who have done quite a very, what you call, interesting breakdown where we have a lot of details. I'm more interested in science and tech, and I talk about politics, but like I generally talk about it as like a third party. As like politics did something stupid, this is how science dealt with it. It's not like politics is that. And be mindful, what you're talking to cover about, that's is very specific to religion. So that's a very spicy topic. So I'm not that keen on covering it, so to say. So for most of you, this, if you have this, you can do it. Now the reason why I want many of you to do this, if you are getting a solar installation which is 1 lakh rupee or 2 lakh rupee or many lakhs rupees, it makes sense to just do the investment if your solar installer do not have this. So it's like, yeah, I'm investing something super expensive, might as well just like, buy this. So I bought this. Now, be mindful, this sort of assortment kit is not how you're supposed to run an electrical job shop. Meaning, if you are running a job environment where it's like, this is your job, this is what you do, you buy this sort of assortment kit to figure out what you use. For in my case, I use a lot of 1.5 square mm. So then I'll buy bulk by that ferrules only. That would be far more cost effective. In India, also you can buy this using RS systems. I'll share all of that once I actually get it. I've already ordered a 16 square mm ferrule. This is not 16 square mm ferrule. This is a twin 6 mm square ferrule, meaning you're supposed to put two 6 mm cable, but somehow it fits here and like crimped it. So I know how it does work, but it takes a lot of effort to go. It takes a lot of effort. So it's also a very good bodybuilding. So like you can try doing that with 16 mm. I dare you. Try doing that. So this was a very interesting development where now again dedicated video I will make about it when I'm actually physically building something to show you guys and all that. But that's I think 1 week or 2 week it may take. So this is on the electrical side of things. However, after all of the hassle that happened last week, including traveling and all that, this finally is back on the menu. And today was yesterday, I actually just dedicated 1 day of actually getting anything running on this. And yes, it does work. Meaning like this, yes, I can pull it apart. Again, this was my first prototype. So now I'm like, okay, I could have done this differently. I could have done this differently, but that's a good thing. That's how it's supposed to be. So yeah, now this puppy does work. Now my next step would be like, I've seen figure things out, I think it works, but next step would be to create a Wi-Fi web page where I can control this. That's the intent of using ESP32. Please reply. Do you make notes while learning something? If yes, provide tips and efficiency of note making. If no, then how you remember things? I do not remember things. That's my primary weakness. I do not have a good memory. So what I do is what we call neural linking, meaning I do not store all the information in my mind because my mind is hollow. It's like I have a lot of RAM, I have zero hard drive. So that's my life. So how do I manage it? Well, I create a network path of it. There is an app, Obsidian. Yeah, there is an app Obsidian. In that Obsidian, you can try basically, having a thought train. So think in this way. If I'm studying about hydrogen, I can't store all the information unless I link it with other information. So same amount of information in my mind, but if it's interlinked, it's super easy to remember. For example, I'll remember hydrogen is very light, liquid hydrogen is very light. Then I'll remember another fact that compressed hydrogen will always be lower than liquid hydrogen. So I only store information about liquid hydrogen. Then I talk about liquid hydrogen. People are like, okay, why are you talking about liquid? I'm like, if you cannot provide enough energy with liquid hydrogen, how the heck you gonna provide energy with compressed hydrogen? Then it makes sense, right? So you connect dots. That's how I do. So in terms of ferrule and all that, again, I did not even knew that the moment you go above from 10 square mm, somehow for some reason electrical industry is like 10, 16. I'm like, sir, there's like a lot of gap here, but you don't have that cable for some reason. It's like 10, 16. What the hell? But it is what it is. So for that reason, I have to link so many things, and the more things I link together, the better my network map becomes in my mind. That allows me to store all that info. But again, it has a penalty. I cannot tell you dates. I know, like, let's say I talk about Rudolf Diesel, right? So Rudolf Diesel made a diesel engine. Again, diesel engine is named after Rudolf Diesel, not diesel fuel. There was no diesel fuel. So how the heck he ran the engine? He was running engines on peanut oil. Yes, vegetable oil. That's why diesel engine can directly take diesel vegetable oil and run. And after his death, I think the engine was, I think, already called Rudolf engine or diesel engine. I could not be sure about that. But diesel liquid fuel, basically crude oil was being distilled. We were getting output out of it. But nobody figured out what was the use of diesel, because again, it did not burn. Right? Diesel is not something you can set a match to it. It will not burn. It's not gasoline. Gasoline just burns. So diesel was like, people knew it had like carbon and it's like flammable and all that. Not flammable, it's like it could burn, but there was no use of it. So they called it like, they wasted it. Like there was a in scenario for I think late 1800s or something like that, where it's like we were taking crude oil out of the ground, refining it, getting gasoline out of it, and throwing diesel away. There was no reason for it. So back then, so once people figured out that hey, we can use the diesel fuel into the diesel's engine, or this heavy hydrocarbon that behaves like diesel, then we called that liquid diesel. So now that's a network information. So I will never forget about that. So once you create a network map, you can easily store a lot of data. But again, this is not a good way of doing it. It does allow me to absorb a lot of information, but I cannot recite with precision. Even though I know what is the exact model, I've studied it, but I can't recall where I have studied the Air Force B-52 Stratofortress Buff aircraft, which they were trying to port with liquid hydrogen. So I can't recall it because again, in my mind that information went, but because I don't have hard drive, I can't recall it. And again, there was a time, I think 1 month ago or 2 months ago, I was so obsessed on this app Obsidian, where it's like, it's almost like a second brain outside of your mind, where you can just put over it. So basically, that way you can again, if you have poor memory but you have a lot of processing power, then you can utilize that. A lot of people have found very amazing results out of it, but it does not guarantee it. Be mindful, it's just a tool. If it just works with you, awesome, but it's not guaranteed. So that's there. Can you just give context of Iran in short? Couldn't find Google on only search results of like Islamic Revolution in Iran. What happened in 1970s? It's basically the Iran, think in this way. Afghanistan had two faces, so to say. Afghanistan, that is Qatar Afghanistan, basically very fundamentalist, let's just call it that way. Fundamentalist Islam that it has right now, it's not always been. They were very free society. Yes, Afghanistan was free society. How free? Yeah, basically Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, they used to go there to clear their mind and open up. That's how free, open society it was. Yes, Afghanistan. But after the revolutionary takeover that I think started with Russian war and all that, then it started to go downhill, and after that it was just like basically the happy peaceful environment got destroyed because like Putin was not Putin. Stalin was like, I have nothing better to do, so let's start a war. And then it was like, then again, America was like, okay, we're gonna create a proxy war. And then both of them fight it, and that destroyed the basically normalcy of that area. So only extreme religious people could survive, and consequence was they lost all of that ethos, so to say. So that something similar happened with Iran also. Everybody asks genuinely. Everybody asks genuinely. Oh. Do you track stocks, sir? Oyo stock went down. Does it mean it's better family life here in India? That's not how it works, bro. Don't link those two things. That's not how it works. Now, here's the deal. What about stocks? I generally just put my money, little bit of money, whatever little I have, into Nifty 50 index, or like I did try to put in S&P 500. Other than that, I don't touch anything. It's just like I put some everything. And how much gain I have gained? I've been doing it for almost a year, and think in this way. I put X every month, and so far in 12 months, I got 13X out of it. Now, again, I did not took the money out. Money is still there. And the reason why I'm doing this is basically for solar. So I will try to do my best where I keep pumping money for solar. Because again, the solar system I have right now, it's more of a like a test system, basically figure things out, how it works and all that. And it does work. I'm very happy because again, a few days we had this issue where like, power cuts were very extreme. And given the fact that it can run motor in emergency, not every day, in emergency it can run it. That gives me a peace of mind that my house will never be stranded for power. So that's a good thing. And again, even if it reduces power bill by a little bit more, if I can see that it reduces power bill a little bit, I would be very happy. And again, that's why like learning, figuring things out, does it actually work, how much it works? Because I think right now my assumption is that I have too much solar panel. I should not have bought 2 kV solar panels. I think my batteries and inverters are like, because again, I locked everything to the battery, so I try to buy as much as I can. While 2 kVA makes sense on a bad environment day, like let's say today was rainy, yeah, 2 kVA having now pays off. But here's the most of the time I have to plan for that 200 good days. So in that 200 good days, or summer specifically, I will have surplus of power, and my inverter cannot run anything that is heavy. Here's the right now inverter has a load setting. It does not show anything. It's so low load. My computer is running 0%. Fans, lights, refrigerator. Refrigerator is the only thing when it turns on, the compressor has enough draw that basically the computer there, it's like, oh, now we have 25% load. Now can I run air condition on it? One air condition. A problem with that is like, if I could run that air condition, I have to make sure that nothing else is running. So it's almost like, not precise. So I'll see what I can do. with that. Can you make a video on channel? Can you make a video about Muslim takeover in a new channel once, twice a week? Boom, take a risk, answer. I believe you will not have. You have enough knowledge to beat 99%. Here's the deal. The reason why I don't talk about spicy things is because I'm not interested. I'm not interested. That's the whole point. I'm not interested in it. I went against Hyperloop, my man. I went against Hyperloop at its peak. I went against it then. So trust me, this like it's not there. And again, um, I don't even personally dislike it anymore. Why? Because again, I have to go to court every basically month or 2 months. So I'm seeing what India is real now, and after watching that, I just don't care. It's like that's why I'm not that much interested into this. Just take a risk. Will you give women the same advice on not getting married? Give you men? Absolutely, absolutely. Heck, all my sisters don't get married. This is Anupam Vipul. What is the date? Let's timestamp this. 13/07 2024 at 7:22 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Anupam Vipul suggests thou shall not get married for men and women. Does that satisfy you? Okay. Do you think women should also not marry like advice? Yeah, exactly the same thing. It's better. It's better right now in current scenario. It's better for both of them to be just be separate. It's like it's much but better, much more healthier for both party because I see what happens when it fails. And yes, every day it's failing more and more and more and more. And I'm seeing the what you call aftermath of it and real aftermath. That's why I say, do not listen to me. Do not listen to anyone, Jordan Peterson or whatever have you. Go to a fucking family court near you, anywhere on 150 countries, anywhere. I dare you. Your thoughts on string theory? Yeah, string theory is like a bit above my level, and be mindful. A lot of people are thinking that it's not actually real. It's more of like we know that Newton's mathematics had a resolution limit. Think of it this way: Newton's mathematics was a 2 megapixel camera. It allowed us to see things, but not very high resolution because again, it could not predict Mercury's orbit precisely enough for scientific reasons. And so Newton is Mark II. Newton is basically 2 megapixel camera. Then Einstein comes along. It's like, okay, 20 megapixel. So we have space-time theory continue. And with general relativity and special relativity, now we can zoom down. Now we can like, okay, this is exactly why Mercury is behaving this way. And it works awesome. Okay, GG. But here's the deal. The moment you stretch that same calculation, basically our camera went from 2 megapixel to 20 megapixel. Now you stretch that like, let me apply the mathematics to basically Big Bang. Right now, problem is Big Bang equals infinity, meaning there was infinite density. The moment you apply that to basically Einstein's mathematics, it does not work. Again, that's what has been told to me. These are far beyond my level, but that's my rough understanding of the situation. It's like Newton was like 2 megapixel camera, Einstein was 20 megapixel camera. We went like much higher. Again, they did not contradict. Let that be very clear. They did not contradict. It's not like Einstein says Newton is wrong. It's more like Einstein says Newton is good. Here's something better. Basically, he built on top of it, like right, 2 megapixel photo, 20 megapixel photo. Now, quantum physics does work very well when you are talking about something very small. Now, here's the problem. Quantum mechanics also work. It's a real thing. It's here. We tested it. It's awesome. Now, here's the Einstein's mathematics, general relativity. It's here. It's real. We tested it. It works. Awesome. Not here's the somehow this has to happen. Basically, at the time of Big Bang, you are talking about everything extreme. The size is extremely small. The energy is extremely high. What the hell? So that creates a problem where neither of these, basically neither the quantum physics works or basically Einstein's mathematics works. So at that point in time, we are stuck. So people are trying to use string theory to unstuck that part. Basically, how can we apply mathematics in that part? That's the best understanding of it. Sir, bottle se cup pe aa gaye. No, it's basically I was drinking a bit of tea, so that's there. Do you find similarity in my previous with India? Uh, the more precise comparison would be Japan, or basically what you call South Korea. So again, yeah, you can say that. But again, Iran went through a violence. We went through like slow decay. So that's why I would not say like it's copy paste from Iran. Do you think, Anurag Shyam, hi to you. Iran was also free before Islamic Revolution, but before Islamic Revolution, Iran major religion was Islam. But you said it was previous stream, it's different religion also in after World War II. Yeah, it has a very complicated history. It is complete. Yes, deal. If you see the photographs of like basically what Steve Jobs went into in during Afghanistan, that's completely different Afghanistan, like culturally speaking. So even though religion was same, it was like completely different place. So You have to understand it's messy. Let's just put it that way. It's messy. It's like from outside we say Islam means Islam. That's not true. It's the same thing. Like if somebody says Hindu means nothing. It's no, low resolution. It's like saying Indian. It's like which state, right? For Indian is like which state, because again people in UP are a bit different compared to people in Bihar. People are Bihar in different from Karnataka people are from Gujarat people are different from basically Delhi, let's just say. So we have a different basically you need to zoom down. So whenever you're talking about Islam, not all Islam is the same. Even though the core is same, but how it's interpreted is not the same. The best example of this is UAE, Arab Emirates. They had a gentleman talking about this. It's like, Europe thinks like, they understand Islam, they don't. It's like not all Islam is the same. It's like they are allowing everybody and they will have extreme, like this is Muslim, this is Arab Emirates, and it's like a very, he talks in English. There was a translator. It's like, yeah, we can translate. It's like, no, you need to understand this. That's why I'm talking in English. And I was like, damn, son. But again, anybody who understands humanity, they will understand. It's like, brah, obviously. Here's the, I've been in India, right? I stay in India. I travel in India. Would I say Indians are good? Yes. Would I say Indians are bad? Yes. They're like, what? Yeah, that's the whole point. There are people, there are good people, there are bad people. So there are good sects, there are bad sects. There are sects that never spit on anything in India. There are sects that always spit on things. So that's happened. When you are talking about large group of people, that will happen. So saying like Islam itself is like, it's irrelevant. You have to figure out which exact variant you are talking about. And same goes in Christianity. Christianity also has like a different variant, like Protestant and all that. It's so messy. It's like I would need a freaking hard drive, and I think there is like 1,500 variants inside. So it's the same. It's like again from outside when say, oh, speak Indian, it's like, bro, which language? Right? India is so vast. Like we have like Hindi, Marathi, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada, Punjabi, Bhojpuri. We have Bengali. So we have so many stuff like that. Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam. So you have to understand there is far more depth to it. But again, overall, like zoom out a bit, that's what happened. Like it was completely different what it was versus what it is right now. That's a factual thing. What will happen to women during old age without marriage compared? What would give the same suggestion about the marriage of sisters and daughter? Again, I did that. Here's the deal. It's much better to be alone than to be miserable. Much better. And again, they get money. That's the good part of it. And again, see, think it this way. If you say marriage is a good thing, then you have to ask then why there is a feminism. Why there is feminism then? Marriage is not a good thing. This is what they call oppression. This is what they call patriarchy. So again, why would you want to oppress women? I would never want my sisters or mothers or anything to be oppressed. It's like if this is what reality is, that my fathers, grandfathers, and their great grandfather and thousands of generation of men worked their ass off, and their gift is you are oppressors. I would say, okay, let's end it. We tried it for thousands of years, and it survived us this far. And you are like, okay, that was evil, that was oppression. And we might, let's say, compare with it Gandhi, right? Gandhi was also leading a freedom fighter, but what he was said, Angrejo Bharat Chodo, right? Britishers leave India. It's very precise. It's like, I have problem with it. It's not like white leave India, or it's not like a black leave India. It's like very precise. I have problem with you. Now compare that to feminist movement. Now feminist movement is men bad, and I'm like, the hell. So all the labors, all the toils that we did, and the result is this. It's better to be not there, because here's the deal. There is a part of me that is aware that man is made out of two entity. Every man, you, me, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is made out of two entity. One is men specifically is that a beast. Okay, so this beast is the reactor. This is the most powerful thing there is in this planet, and then there is a kid. Now, whenever you hear people talking about, like, oh, men never grow up, they just like, they physically age. That's the whole point. That kid is there. As long as man's kid is alive, world is safe. Why? Here's the beast has the reactor power. It's like, I got this. So beast gives you the power for a father to survive the toils of a work life. He can go into a job where boss is harassing him. He can endure it. He toils in sunlight, actual harsh sunlight in basically summer, in dead of noon, and he can toil away. What is providing that energy is the beast. Now here's it. Why beast is doing that? Because the child is asking it to. So child is controlling the steering. Now it's like, okay, so we have a beast and we have a child. So how the heck child is telling what beast what to do? It's not telling, it's asking. Why? Because there is a payment. What is the payment? Payment is joy. The beast does not feel joy. Beast can only feel what you call visceral feelings. Basically, action equals reaction kind of thing. Basically, nature's protocol, which is might is right. It has no concept of like joy. A very simple joy. The child emerges the joy. Now, whenever a man gets injured in that child part, not the physical body, I'm not talking about physical body, I'm talking meta layer. Whenever that child is injured, there is a probability that demon can directly take the steering wheel. When that happens, run, run. And I am scared of that part. There is no man in this planet that is scared of anything other than that part. Other than that part, it's like if that, that beast takes the steering wheel, takes away the kid, because again, you poofed that kid. At that point in time, there is nothing that can stop you. That point is scary. That's what scares me. It never is like, oh, you are scared of them. It's like, oh, scared of this or that. Nothing is there on this planet that can scare a man. You send men to die in battle, and men just go. There is nothing that can say other than lies. Why? Lie can directly penetrate the armor that beast has, and it harms the child. Not the beast, the child. After that, hope that he poofs himself because he has deal. At that point in time, he's very dangerous. You do not know the power of a man without restraint. It's scary. Every religion, every culture, every fighting ability, basically every combat sports, they will teach you about that. It's like if you lose restraint, bad things happen. So that's why. So what was the suggestion for working women getting pressurized for marriage? It's not my problem. And again, this is double. Don't talk both sides of your ass. If again, society says do this, does not matter because here's the deal. Society does not ask you to get divorced. Society does not ask you to not have kids, but you do it because again, it's your choice. So don't have this both way. It's like do whatever you want to do because society is not paying you. Society is not doing anything physical to hurt. Again, they will, you can say they can emotionally hurt you, but be mindful. That's life. I get that every time. So that's life. It's like me getting upset. It's like everybody's talking, oh, sir, you should get basically hair transplant and all that. You look so old and all that. I have to just put up with it. That's life. So that part, it does not matter. It's like society does not ask women to go and make OnlyFans, but they do. So that two-sided stock does not work. Make decision and own up to it. Can we talk about India improving? What is suggestion getting pressurized from marriage? Okay. Can you talk about how India can improve its railway, vast efficiency of Japanese railway? Can it be implemented in scale in India in intercity? To some extent, the biggest issue is railway signaling system is really outdated, like really not that good. And again, even though our interlocking system, it has failed on multiple occasions. That's the scary part. So I think it's a good topic. I'll look into it. It's a good topic. Given the constraints, what we do, I'll talk about that. So I saw Starship 5 live on SpaceX. I doubt it. Are you talking about stacking? Because I don't think they have launched it yet. So unless you are trolling me, launch 5. Yeah, Starship Launch 5 has not happened yet. It's planned. So good troll. How to handle parental pressure from a girl who are working and earning money themselves? Leave. Physically leave the house. And give an ultimatum. Very simple ultimatum. It's like if you want me, you cannot force me. If you force me, cut communication. Because here's the deal. It's much better to resent current than to be resentful of heart. Because again, at that point, you have the potential to destroy multiple families. So it's better to be just like, okay, I'm going to give you a very simple ultimatum. Especially if you are independent. If you are independent, I'm out. There is no communication. It's like you can only talk to me if you talk like a human. If you talk like an animal, where it's like, oh, you have to do this because it's like, no, all of you are miserable. We saw how miserable you are. You created fights, revolutions, all of that because you are miserable. You will not enforce that same misery on me. Me out. Give them an ultimatum and back out. It's as simple as that. So do you have any idea about real life angel investors with their own money? Angel investors. Yes, I do deal with one investor. I have already made a live stream in Hindi channel with them. Mirik, he deals with venture capital. So it's a very high risk, very high reward system. But again, you have to offer them something while having a team that shows enough capability. Be mindful. It's not just like, oh, I have an idea. That's not how it works. You have to show them that you are almost ready to go. Almost ready. And they test your team more than they test you. They have to believe that your team can actually get things done. It's not just you. Many times people are like, oh, I am the horsepower of it. That's cool and all, but any angel investor, any venture capitalist company will flat out tell you it's like it's not an individual thing. You need at least 5 or 6 people at the top who are like really driven, really good, and they have a really good team dynamics. Only then there is a slight chance it might work. So if you go alone, it's like I'm gonna do this. It's like eh. If you have a good team, they have good skip, and then it's like okay, nice. How can I find them? Like the same Hindus, because you can etc sacrifice in temple using liquor in temple easily acceptable. So culture difference, but under the same religion, yeah. Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. Same religions could have multiple sub-variants inside it. Do you think Europe is losing global relevance? Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. They're not on rise, but I think Russia kind of ironically made them powerful because now all of them are investing again in their defense industry. After World War II, they have like kind of let it slide, but this much investment, you are talking about billions of dollars poured into investment, that has trickle down effect, and all the money is spent inside the country itself. So now you have a lot of new contracts being created for weapon systems. So that has a lot of benefits. So there is a very good chance that this war over time will make a much stronger Europe. Uh, which Gandhi freedom fighters? Rahul Gandhi? No, Mahatma Gandhi. I'm talking about Mahatma Gandhi. I'm a girl. I'm really frustrated when parents force me to buy. Even I'm not. Even if I'm ready to earn money myself, then earn it. Earn the money and leave the house. It's called leaving the nest. You are in a nest. If you are staying with your parents, you do not have authority. Leave that place. Earn your living. Unless you can do that, there is no other step two. Step one is that go outside, earn money, stay on your own, then you make that decision. In many countries, Gen Z are becoming more conservative. Would it be pushback of feminism or wokeism very strongly few decades? Yeah, those are BS. Again, that's why I said do not look into what people say, look into what's happening. So how do I know that's BS? Well, here's still family courts are still getting overflooded, and or divorce rates are going higher. They say, oh, it's going down, it's the lowest it has been. It's like go to the family court every day. I dare you. Outcome is the same. And another part is birth rate has decreased. So even if marriages are working and there are no children, it does not that much matter. So yeah, that's Hululu. I learned mathematics and programming, become an AI engineer. Wanna go out of India? Is it enough to have skills? Wanna go online visible? Can I do? Wanna become online visible? What can I do for it? I think your channel is turning into a bunch of, oh, I realize that is my opinion. That's clever. But again, it's like I talk about what people ask me to talk about. So make a video on supercritical solvent. I mean, do you mean supercritical CO2? Because that's the only thing I know. Supercritical CO2 is used for coffee extraction. That's the thing I know. Other than that, I have not looked too much deep into it. So that's my limit of the information. That's the limit of the information. All is well. Yeah, that's the only real world advice I can give you. Just leave the house. Trust me. This I'm talking from experience. So make a video on supercritical solvent and all that. Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, as of Starship 5, I do not think it's happening anytime soon. I would expect it to maybe at the end of August. Let's see what's the expected date right now. Expected date. August, yeah. It's still showing August 25. So you have to understand this part. And in terms of like you want to be an AI engineer, you have to have a good portfolio. I'm trying to bring one of my friend who is a AI expert, like real world. That's what his living is like. He makes AI systems for security systems. So here's the overpopulation can create unnecessary cutthroat competition. Too many people, too few resources. That's not true. Resources are made by people. There is no such thing as resource. That's not how things work. People make resources. That's how things work. Think about this way, na? Like all of this planet was less people one time, right? I have made a video about that, detailed video. Overpopulation is a myth. And to give you a mathematical context, we had 1 billion people were starving. We had 2 billion people, less people were starving. 3 billion people, even fewer people starving. Now India has 1.5 billion people, less people are starving today compared to at the time of India's independence. We had more resources, but that's the whole point. People are resource. People, if applied effectively, wisely, makes a resource. There is no such thing as resource. You make it into resource. You have stuff. You make stuff into resource. And every problem that is created, like let's say a lot of people are there, right? Now you need a sewage generator. Good. That's a problem. Now you create a sewage network. Britain did that in 1850s, I think. That's when they did it. So again, you have a problem. Awesome. Now you have a new job opportunity, new solutions to create. And that's exactly how evolution works. You go from single-celled organism to something complex like this. That's exactly how it happens. It's like, oh, now we have a kidney, but again, you have a hell lot of hassle to take care of it. Now you have to maintain a warm body temperature. But again, we do it because the reward is such greater. That's the whole point. Population is a problem, but that's the point. That's how you're supposed to solve it. That's what you're supposed to, like, oh, this is a problem. Let's solve it. How can we solve it? What are the issues? How can we tackle it? Use this to solve it and be mindful. Our history shows that we have done that. Now, is there an upper limit of how much people planet Earth can have? Yes. How big is that number? That's in millions of billion. Like, it's bonkersly high, like 34 billion, so to say. That's with current system, current technology. So that's the whole point. So, hello, sir Aditya. Hello to you. Or has anybody? Okay. My electric meter has stopped working, but there is still supply in my house. Do I need to write a complaint, or do they themselves will do something at time of meter reading? No, it's generally wise idea to write a complaint, because if you have a paper trail where it's like, sir, there was an issue, I filed a report, so they cannot charge you too much for it. They will try to do that. That's why I say, like, get on it as quickly as possible. But look at our country, tens of millions of people are applying for few thousand subjects because they are stupid. It's like, here's the deal. That's not a problem. It's like, oh, that simply means they are dumb. Because it's like, here's the deal. You apply for UPSC exam, right? So let's say, how many UPSC vacancy? So let's say there were 1056 vacancy. How? So let's say 10 to 15 lakh people apply for a vacancy. There are only 1,000 people who could be selected for civil servant. Okay, cool, awesome. What does it mean? That simply means all these people who are applying for second or third time, not the first time. First time, you are testing yourself. Second time, that's your final. That should be the only final thing. Like, first, I tried it. Second, either it works or does not work. Or if all these people, like, let's say 15 lakh, let's say you all that 15 lakh people, they tried it for one time, it did not work. Second time, only half of them tried, they didn't work. Again, only 1,000 seat, and most of them just left it. It's like, okay, we tried it, it did not work. Let's say they went into business. Now assume 90% failure rate. By the way, that still would be much higher than the government system. And now in that 10% system, now you have a whole economy. That's now you have new Ratan Tatas, now you have new Adanis, now you have new Ambani. That's literally how world works. People are not the problem. People are problem solver. People create problem. People solve problem. That's life. So I made earthing and learned a lot information, and I understand why you are saying to do it yourself. Yeah, that's the whole point. Many, it's like, especially in India, like, what you call, especially in lower tier cities, lot of jugaad is done, which for electricity is not acceptable. Like, flat out not acceptable for electricity. So yeah, 2 years ago I decided to marry after reading Indian law. I'm not want to want to marry even as girlfriend. Yeah, stay away from. Be mindful. There is no girlfriend. There is only rape case at that point in time. Because again, every woman by law can say you raped her because you said you're gonna marry. But that's law. That's Indian law. That's in constitution. Read it. So do not be like, do not ever be near a woman. Can I take can I take any suggestions from you? That's up to you. This channel is more intellectual than Hindi channel. No, that's not true. Both are the same. It depends on what public are asking. I do not control what people ask. I just only control what I answer. So it is what it is. Oh, one minor good news happened is that if you watched my last week, I did sent a boatload of money, 20,000 bonkers amount of money I had to put down for my RAM replacement to get the advance RMA, meaning basically I paid the money and they sent, basically they received the money, they sent a RAM replacement kit, and once they receive my defective RAMs, then they refund the money. Now why I had to do that? Simply because I bought RAM kit which had two sticks. If I had two independent sticks, then I could have RM'd the defective one. But because it was a kit, they required both of them. So that was an issue. Thankfully, it's now sorted. It took their sweet time. They took their sweet time, but it's now solved. So I have some again, my bank account at least have some money into it. It's like, it was brutal. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Last few months has been, solar took way too much money. I think all these companies are there like, hey, solar panel has so much competition that you cannot actually overcharge too much. Inverter, again, not, you cannot charge too much. Battery, not too much. So where can you make extra butter? So extra butter is installation. So I think that it's a is it good practice to stop two lovebirds or couple in public and discipline them and stop obscenity? No, that's not your role. That's not your role. That's not your role. Aren't we stereotyping women if we think like that? Does not matter. Here's the deal. Who suffers from it? Well, like, think it this way. Whenever you have a corruption scheme, right? Like, corruption is exposed. How do you think investigators solve it? Who benefits from it? Where does the money go? That's the whole point. Because here's the deal. I'm not talking about good woman or bad woman. I'm talking about good days or bad days. Because here's the deal. If you ever say that I met this woman who's never gonna have a bad day, I'm like, you are retarded. Even woman will tell you that there will be good days, there will be bad days. There will be a days you will just like, at the last time. Here's the deal. At that point in time, if a society is like, here's a nuclear warhead, fire it at your husband, of course she will do that. But here's the deal. That society is retarded. That society is working its ass off to disappear from the timeline. So you let it. Because here's the deal, you do not have anything even comparable, even close to 1% of the damage that she can do on her bad day. Because here's the deal, men are not fragile, men are destructive. But that boy that keeps this world intact, that is very fragile. That's why never ever expose your emotional operating system to a woman. Because again, she has no need for it, she just needs to manipulate you based on that. So basically, here's the deal. Do you want to risk it or not risk it? That's up to you. And be mindful, there is no fear part of it. The fear is from the inside, that what can you do to this world? Be mindful. Hitler was one dude, one failed artist, burnt almost half of the planet. So be very mindful. Do you regret buying RTX 4070 as 4070 Super came just after that? That has no answer. It's like, I bought it when it was available. I bought it. The end. It's like, oh, don't you regret like 5070 coming out? It's like, duh. It has no point. Like, you buy what you can do. Now, again, in terms of my computer, I fine-tuned a lot of things. Like, I got DDR5, PCI 5, and basically AM5 socket. Now, this is what my bet is. Now, I know DDR5 would be the future. Duh. I know PCI 5.0 would be the future. Duh. I know, like, again, this is another issue with my old computers. Like, I have a very old computer, my first desktop, that is like 15 years old or something like that. That does not even have gigabit Ethernet. So meaning I cannot transfer files more than 100 Mbps using Ethernet. I need to put basically system. So I tried to make it NAS, it just did not work. So again, now I can use my old computer as a NAS system because it has enough horsepower. Or I can make a new energy efficient system where I'm just utilizing, AM5 parts. So I can make another computer which is very cheap part, but AM5. So I have two AM5 motherboard, two AM5 CPU and all that. So if any failure happens, I can swap parts and figure out what exactly went wrong. So that does not make a difference. Like, again, does that mean people who bought DDR4 right now are an issue? Again, if they are expecting it to have long life, yes, because again, DDR4 is now being phased out, DDR5 is in. So that part I can control. I controlled it. What about GPU? Again, the GPU I bought when it was launched. Let that be very clear. I bought my system at the time of purchase. It was really, really good. Is it really, really good? Here's the deal. There are very few games that ever shows that this is not efficient enough. Like, almost nothing. Nothing, almost no game is there. Yeah, there is one issue that it has low VRAM, but again, the VRAM issue is not on the Nvidia part, it's on the game developer part. They can say it's like 16 GB should be there, but here's that should has no meaning. You could be like, hey, you should have 32 GB VRAM. It's like, you have to optimize for what is viable. Most people still have 8 gigabyte VRAM. I have 12. So it's one of those things, like, I've timed it as best I could have done that. All things were like pointing at that point, and my computer was like 10 years ago. And be mindful, I made a huge jump. I went from DDR3 to DDR5, PCI 3 to PCI 5.0. So I made a huge jump. Jump wise, I made a huge jump. So I feel very relaxed. And be mindful, right now I am getting paid for the effort I put into this because my solar inverter does not take too much power. Now this means if there is a really bad power cut, I never have to worry about it. So it paid off. How much RAM is sufficient for today's time? Office work, basic work, and some video editing. At least 32. I'm using Dell Optiplex 756 and it works well. That statement has no context. Dell Optiplex is a lineup. In that you will choose like which RAM you have, which CPU you have, how much you have. So saying that line is like, oh, I have Dell Inspiron 535S. Figure it out. It does not mean anything. So if you say Dell Optiplex, is it a laptop? Which version? Like you see, like you have to provide some context. It's like I have a, which is a long running car. I have a Ferrari. Which Ferrari? I have a Lamborghini. Which Lamborghini? So that's the same point. Do you think it's not always about quality? I mean, USA is doing very well. What gave you the feeling that USA is doing quite well? Go to USA, please. I have friends there, so I know. Go. They are doing quite well compared to others because their ancestor did amazing work. They are coasting on it at this point in time. The Saturday's video that is coming out, I have talked about it. There was a time, let that be very clear. There was a time USA was genuinely mind-bogglingly smart and you know, competent and capable. But what it is right now, look into their presidential debate. See, there is another problem. It is like whenever you are comparing a country with another country, it's like, are you comparing two competent player or are you comparing one idiot with even bigger idiot? Right? Like if you can look into India, Pakistan, right? Both of them got independence at the same time. But here's the deal. One was an idiot, another was slightly less idiot. That's all we got. That's the difference between India and Pakistan. But again, one is like, we can give money to IMF program. Another is like, can you please give us money? So, and again, given the doing very well versus low population. And again, be mindful, their population is the weakest link. That's why do you think they have so much immigration? Why they are allowing it? Why they are not like Japan, lock it down? You basically have a mind, you made up your mind and now you are forcing back to it. And be mindful, America also went through that. They also went through their population boom. Look into their population boom and their growth. It lines up perfectly. When you have population growth, only then you can grow. Look into Japan's population growth and their economic boom. It lines up precisely. When it collapses, when their family unit collapses, when the population drops. It's math. Basically, we are forced fed this BS in childhood, in school. So we go through all our adult life, never critically questioning it. Remember, we went there, we've been there, right? And by that logic, if you are applying that USA logic, by that logic, Russia, everybody in Russia should be like Ambani. No, it's horribly poor, horridly poor. Russia is horridly poor. Only oligarchs are filthy rich. Like look into satellite map. Why do you think Russia looks like literally Soviet Union? Why there is nothing new? Heck, their rockets look like same rocket that Yuri Gagarin used. Literally the same rocket. America went through like, oh, we built this, it did not work. We built a new system, it did not work. We built a new one, now it works. They went through so many progression. Russia is like, they have such a surface area, so few people. Few people means few minds. Few minds means limited thought. Did you make any video of different glue? No, I haven't made any video about glue. Ankit Singh. So I hope that has answered your question. It's like think in that way. Like if you apply that logic, by that logic, people living in Sahara, African Sahara, they should be like, we good, we loaded, surface area, very few people. Imagine whom would a son or daughter support in such scenario, mother or father, mother case against father. See, these things are irrelevant to think about. You committed the sin of marriage, either it works or it does not work. There is no discussion about there is nothing if this then that. It's like you will suffer. I see how men are being slaughtered every month or so. So at this point, it's pointless. It's like, oh, we're gonna cut you from this side or cut you from this side. It's like it does not make a difference. I'm gonna be dead at the other end. So you can waste your time about that, but that's up to you. If you want to get married, go ahead. Like again, many people do. Heck, most of my friends are. But again, I'm scared for them, not for me. Like I'm scared for them because again, I know for many of them, if something bad happens, knock on wood, that should not happen. If something bad happens, many of them will shatter. Like literally, the word shatter will apply on them. You are basically Joel Crackross. His child died because he became pessimist and tells everyone should get out of our programming and stop creating children. I'm not saying about programming nor about human. Only Hindu Marriage Act. Basically, anybody who's affected by it, or 150 countries specifically. I'm not saying the same thing about Sharia. Makes sense 100%. Yeah, that's the point. If the world becomes a poison to you, you just let it be. It's like, okay, bye. You don't fight. No, never fight, never beg. It's like fight only for things that are worth it, not for things that are worthless. Because again, many times fighting is what they want. They being the system. Again, they want you to get married because again, how else lawyers is gonna eat? Because again, we are in the Mark II generation of India. So Mark I generation had properties and all that. So we had all the property fights. That's done now. What now? Marriage. Lot of marriage fights. Again, I know this was designed this way. How? Because it's still in dowry system, if you ever actually want to stop a system, you affect both parties. You flat out say, if you give a bribe, you go to jail. If you take a bribe, you go to jail. That's the law. Every country. Factual, absolute, no BS. But in dowry, there is BS. It's like giving dowry is good. Taking dowry, you go to jail. It's like, why? So women can rape you in court. That's written in the law, 1984. Like, think about it. It's like, if some party comes to you, it's like, hey, I gave him this dowry and he is asking for more, both of you go to jail. 5 years, no dowry. It will solve all the problem permanently. But it's the same thing. Like, why police officers never actually do the hard work of like actually fixing everyone's bad behavior? If they did that, where would the money come from? It's like that's why like they have like few seasons where they do like helmet checks and all that, because if they did it every day, right, every day they are very thorough it, in 2 to 3 years everybody will have a helmet, everybody will learn how to do it, and they will not make any money. So they always like little bit. So you have to understand there are layers to politics to this. It's like stay away from girls. Yeah, stay away from them. Just like oh. And if you want the sweet nectar of love, pay for it. And again, that's safer. Mathematically speaking, in India, that's actually safer than other options. So yeah, I would say go with that. What happened to you? I hope it will end soon. Yeah, I've been wishing for that for 3 years. And again, knock on wood, I have to go again on 31st. And again, I'm actually angry at the judge simply because he's talking about like you should do mediation. It's like, sir, we did the mediation in the court. It's not like I'm talking about some private mediation or off the books, like on the books. As they said, on the books. I did that. Now you're asking me to do the same thing again. And I begged him. I begged him. It's like, sir, it will not change anything. Because the defendant and what you call plaintiff, I think. Defendant and plaintiff both are the same party. They have not changed in 3 years. Only difference is I'm far more poor and hairless. So, yes, imagine that's just that's that's naughty. That's naughty, boys. That's naughty. That's very naughty. You're doing naughty, naughty stuff, eh? Naughty, naughty. But anyway, it's your life. Do whatever you wish. But only thing I would ask: go visit a family court once for men specifically. This part only applies on men because on women it does not apply. Only applies because again, women have the tool of crying. They will cry like, and the judge is like, oh, literally happens. Literally. And the worst, the most pathetic thing I have ever seen so far. I hope, knock on wood, I would never see anything, but there is a grown man crying. And I'm like, dude, you committed the sin of marriage. What else did you expect to happen? That was the most pathetic, like, that was like, eesh. There is a saying, like, if you have to go, wrong side of heaven, righteous side of hell, choose righteous side of hell. Do you think India is more dangerous for men judiciary compared to the West? No, no, they are same. They are same. They are same. Only motto, paisa kama. Try going for. Think about the worst case. Think about the worst case. Millionaire leave India. How it's affecting us? Can you make a video on live discussion for it? That's not that. Mm-hmm. That's spicy. Spicy. That's a very spicy topic. Why? Recently, Jackant Shukre, right? That's India's foreign minister, right? If I'm not mistaken. Let me type the name. That's why I said I do not have good memory. India's foreign. Yeah, Jaykant, Jai Shrikant. Yeah, Jai Shrikant. So somebody said that his son is already a Western citizen. He does not even have Indian passport. Indian citizenship does not have. And again, they gave a list of a lot of people, from politicians to rich people. It's like they are not actually here. So everybody's like, oh, Brendan is not his issue. It's like, yeah, it's an issue. It's a big issue. So yeah, in due to subsidy, the metering, 90% of homes solar installed and have batteries and setup is trying using them for grid storage. Would it compare to grid scale batteries? See, it has its own pros and cons. First, it's a basically you're distributing the electrical basically cost on a lot of people, right? You're distributing cost on a lot of people rather than somebody taking a big risk with big money, which would be more efficient, but it will come at a penalty of much higher capital investment. If you can't do the capital investment, this option is the next best thing. People chip in a little bit, you chip in a little bit, and all of you get a good electricity out of it. So there is some options here. I want to use Obsidian for now, downloading it. Can you provide any tips for it? No, I tried it. I did not use it because again, there was one person who said something very interesting. It's like sometimes you have what you call productive procrastination, meaning you are going round and round rather than doing the actual thing. And because you are doing things, you feel like, hey, me doing things. But again, you're not actually doing things. You are wasting time effectively, so to say. So many times we get lost in the tools. It's like, how can I use this tool? How can I? It's like, bro, do the work. Tool is not the focus, do the work. So I find out like pen and paper works well for me. But again, it was very interesting. I really wanted to try. If the user is doing currently, however, why everyone wants to go there? Others are even worst. It's like, think in this way. He has 5 liters of water, others have 1 liter of water. Where would you want to go? You need 10 liters of water. Where would you want to go? Someone who has 5 liters, right? It's like, bro, do some content. Like, that's the same thing. It's like asking why basically Bangladeshi people are coming to India. It's like, because again, India is comparatively better. Come on, bro. Like, come on. Come on. Come on. Expected more. Come on. Uh, and again, US is horrible for Americans, not for basically who are going from the abroad, because they are getting the basically think in this way. All their people, American people, basically from 275 years, they worked their ass off. They made a foundation. That foundation is no longer working for their own youth, but youth from other countries are like, wabai, we are doing wabai, mate. So we are getting the best deal out of there. So, what about live discussion on human psychology? That's interesting. That's interesting. That's really good. That's something that I would like to do. Human psychology. What do you think? Yeah, that's something interesting. That is something very very interesting. Okay, so it's been 1 hour. It was a very interesting live stream. Ironically, a lot of people actually came, which is shocking given the fact that it was launched wrong. It was launched into private. So I'm sorry for that. Anyway, thanks for interesting questions and people who have provided good insights. Awesome, very good questions. And I will see you guys next Saturday. Bye.